Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Monday, June 29th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Ball State game in 68 days, the game against Michigan in 152 days. Our friends at Jeff Ruby's Columbus are proudly offering nationally acclaimed USDA prime steaks, seafood and sushi, impeccable service, live entertainment, and an attention to detail that is simply unmatched. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. All right, it is that time of year. Everyone knows what the big holiday right now is. It is, you were going to say 4th of July, weren't you? It is Steel Miss. Phil Steele, the magazine is out. It is a sure sign that college football is right around the corner. His magazine got mailed out to subscribers who got the early VIP bundle, including myself. I'm going to guess that Tony Gerdeman of BuckeyeInsiders.com may be in that club as well. He is my guest today. And what we are going to do is we're going to go through Phil's rankings of the top teams in the nation. And we're going to say, okay, if Phil is exactly right about everything, what would the college football playoff field look like this year? So, Tony, are you ready to start the first of what is probably many of these exercises over the next few months?
100%. Let's do it. Let's speculate. Let's look at the helmet matchups because I always enjoy that part of the show.
Exactly. We're going to start with here's where the preseason rankings, here's where Phil has these teams in the preseason rankings. We'll just run through the top 11, which are the teams that will make the field, and then the first 4 out, and then the top group of 5 team. And if you are looking ahead, you see, ooh, that's a different and very intriguing group of 5 team that we'd be talking about on today's show. Here's how Phil has them ranked. And he has his power poll, which is just purely ranking the teams based on how good they are. And then he has this, which is his rankings based on how good the team is, but also their schedule, all opponents, where teams fall on their schedule, all that kind of stuff, sort of projecting win and loss records. So he's got Notre Dame number 1, Georgia number 2, Ohio State number 3, Texas number 4. Those 2 teams play in week 2, so that'll be a good one. Indiana, week 5, Ohio State plays them as well. Oregon, number 6, Ohio State plays them as well. Miami, number 7, Alabama, number 8, Texas Tech, number 9, and this was released before the Brendan Sorsby news had officially broken, or at least the last version of the Brendan Sorsby news had officially broken. Number 10, BYU. Number 11, USC. That's another team that Ohio State has to play. That they have 3 of those teams that are in the field on the road, and another one at home. SMU number 12, Oklahoma number 13, Ole Miss number 14, Michigan number 15. Ohio State has them as well. I know what you're thinking. What about Lane Kiffin? Yeah, Phil has Lane Kiffin outside of the top 15. The top group of 5 team in the rankings, according to Phil, the midshipmen of Navy, who could potentially have to play Army one Saturday and then go and play in the first round playoff game the very next week. That would be quite a turnaround. We'll see if that actually happens. Tony, any initial thoughts here on where Phil has folks?
No, I'm just imagining Navy playing somewhere on the East Coast against Army this year and then having to go like way out west the following week for a playoff game, something like that. But overall, I think you mentioned Lane Kiffin not having LSU in there is interesting, but just Ohio State playing 4 of the top 15 teams is daunting and wholly unfair. Let's just admit it. No, but it's going to be a fun schedule. I'll just say that. And looking at these, like you could put anybody against anybody and I'll watch it. Texas Tech, I expect them once they get their quarterback healthy and going, everybody seems to be very high on what they can be. We know they had one of the best defenses in the nation last year, and they've paid good money to have one again.
And I will point out, it is 5 of the top 15 for Ohio State because it's Texas, Indiana, Oregon, USC, and Michigan. So, and 3 of those on the road. So we keep talking about Ohio State having a challenging schedule. Yep, that's what that looks like. So, all right, when you get through all of that, here's what that would translate to in terms of a college football playoff field. Number 9, Texas Tech visiting Alabama. Number 12, Navy going to Bloomington, Indiana. And boy, go back in time about 5 years and tell yourself, Navy and Indiana are going to play a college football playoff game. One of them is going to be the defending national champion, and watch your mind fall out of your leak out of your ears. Number 11, USC taking on number 6, Oregon. Number 10, BYU going to number 7, Miami. Boy, Tony, the Cougars and the Hurricanes. That is quite a culture clash in addition to an on-field matchup.
Is it just me, or is it every time we do these, it looks like Ohio State has the worst road, like the toughest road? And this one again. And now I'm also thinking about the Indiana Navy game. And if Kurt Signetti starts to talk trash against Navy, like you're talking about America now. You want to badmouth America, you can get on out. And so it's going to be interesting to see what, it would be interesting to see, do they dial it back? Do they have to dial it back in terms of putting too many points on the board? But just the idea of preparing for Navy for the playoffs is just bad, because then you've got to be ready to go after them. So even though that may be the easiest game, I don't know that it would be my first pick to play in the first round of a playoff. But yeah, the Oregon USC, which would be a rematch for Ohio State, I'd kind of like to see something different. Now, still, these are two exciting teams to match up with, and we've seen some good matchups with Oregon in the past, and it's always fun to watch Ohio State play these West Coast teams. But do I want to see them play a Big Ten team in the quarterfinals? Not necessarily, unless it's Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we always say it would not be hard for the committee to move a team one line on here to avoid having a rematch, which would seem to be in everyone's best interest in terms of narrative, in terms of new and exciting matchups. And then they have not done that in the past. So that remains something that would be relatively easy for them to do. Slide USC up to number 10 and BYU down to number 11. And then all of a sudden, boom, you've got a couple new matchups. But that is not something they have done in the past. I will say, getting Navy on a relatively short notice, where you would guess everyone will have scouted Navy like crazy, but that is such a different offense to have to prep for. I decided to while you were talking, pulled up Navy's last 5 bowl games, and they have not played, fantastic competition in most of these. 5-0 in their last 5 bowl games. They beat Cincinnati in the 2025 Liberty Bowl, beat Oklahoma in the 2024 Armed Forces Bowl, beat Kansas State in the 2019 Liberty Bowl, beat Virginia 49-7 in the 2017 Military Bowl, and they did lose to Louisiana Tech in the 2016 Armed Forces Bowl, but not a real fun offense to prepare for on short notice if they do get there.
And this would be much shorter notice.
Yes, this would be far shorter notice than even the normal setup. And they would presumably, if they do this, have to play in the conference championship game the first week of December, then the Army game in the second week, then the first round of the college football playoff in the third week, at which point that's 3 incredibly emotional games all in a row. That would be very, very challenging for them to do. But that's one of the many challenges of the current setup with Army Navy. So the potential matchups in the second round here, you assume Alabama beats Texas Tech. If we just go the higher ranked team wins, Alabama, Notre Dame in the quarterfinals, Indiana, Texas in the quarterfinals, Oregon, Ohio State in the quarterfinals, and Miami and Georgia in the Mark Richt Bowl in the quarterfinals. Then your potential semifinals, Ohio State and Georgia, Notre Dame and Texas. And then your national championship game, if the higher teams advance, Notre Dame and Georgia. But boy, Notre Dame, those are 4 teams. If Notre Dame, Texas, Ohio State, and Georgia are the final 4, I think that every TV executive in the nation is going to be rubbing their hands together with glee at whatever those TV numbers are going to look like.
Didn't this work out well for Ohio State in 2024? This very same 4?
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, let's do it again. But some of these games, like Indiana, it's fun to see them against new power or other powers, like them being a new power. Seeing them against Texas, I think, would be entertaining because we saw what happened when they played Miami. We've seen what happened when they played Alabama. It's like, all right, let's just keep running through some programs and let's see what happens. Boy, I think Notre Dame is going to be very, very good this year, but it's still just hard to buy them as the one running through everything. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I don't think their schedule is quite as difficult as it has been in the past. That has to do a little bit with number 11 USC backing out of their longtime series. in a real Profiles of Courage moment out of Lincoln Riley. But yeah, that is a team that could have a relatively shiny record without having a particularly brutal schedule. As far as I can remember, I can pull it up real quickly. But I don't remember them having a particularly challenging schedule this year. But yeah, it feels like I don't know why I'm doing this, and I can just.
It's okay. It's all right.
Hang on, I can just find it in the magazine, and then I can edit it out. Unless I forget.
No.
Unless I forget. Bill, where do you have the Independents?
Right before the MAC, like, I don't know, towards the Mountain West. Them in UConn, you got to find the right 2 pages. This is why Notre Dame needs to be in a conference.
This is why Notre Dame needs to be in a conference. CUSA, sons of bumpuses.
I'm sorry I asked. And I didn't. I didn't even ask.
You didn't. Before the AAC, before the Big 12. There it is. Okay.
Leave this in.
Absolutely. Especially the bumpuses. All right. So I have Notre Dame's schedule in front of me here. They play Wisconsin in Green Bay week 1, then Rice, then Michigan State, then at Purdue, then at North Carolina, then home for Stanford, at BYU. That's the toughest game we've seen so far. Home for Navy, home for Miami, home for Boston College, home for SMU, and then at Syracuse. So it's not a brutal slate. It's not a particularly light slate. You got some top 15 teams in there, but not any top 5 teams. So that's sort of the big difference between the Ohio State schedule and the Notre Dame schedule, but certainly one where they could go 11-1 without too much difficulty. And if they do, then yeah, you're looking at a Notre Dame team that is right at the top and probably getting a first round bye. So there you go. A look at what the college football playoff could look like this year. We will see what it does look like this year. And when we do see that, we will be seeing it at BuckeyeInsiders.com. That's where we got our whole team covering Ohio State football, covering Ohio State basketball, and much, much more. That site is getting close to launching. If you want to know more, you can put in your email address at BuckeyeInsiders.com. We'll send out another email update shortly with hopefully an official launch date coming very soon, as well as more exciting news about what's coming there. And also thanks to our friends at Jeff Ruby's of Columbus, the award-winning upscale steakhouse in downtown Columbus, named one of the top 50 steakhouses in America by Food Network. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.